Welcome to the Brie Pod. I'm here with me, Brie. So I wanted to say I hope you all had an amazing Thanksgiving. Um, we definitely had a good time with our son. Um, we ended up we were invited to a Friendsgiving, but decided not to go just because RSV has been wicked insane these days. I've been seeing a lot of my friends on Facebook where their kids have uh, had it or, online, on basically everywhere, the news, they're just talking a lot about RSV, which of course freaked me out. So we didn't go anywhere for Thanksgiving. And we'll probably do the same for Christmas, but that is just because of just all the work we'd have to do with that. I'm not ready yet to go on a airplane ride with my son yet. I think that we're going to be more so ready in the spring to do so. So right now we're just gonna kind of stick to our roots. Um, so anyway, every Thanksgiving I like to have a crab. Um, because for turkey, there's really first off, I've never made one in my life. And second off, there's no reason there's no reason for us to have a huge turkey because there's only two of us. Sorry. Uh, so we don't really make our own. But anyway, we usually I get what is it called there? Snow crab. But this year there is a shortage of snow crab, so they are not allowed to go out and um fish it. So with that being said, I ended up going with Dungeness crab, which is really um very popular here over in um the Pacific Northwest. So I ended up well, I should say we took the Dungeness crab and made ourselves a crab mac and cheese. So that was pretty delicious. We had a good time. We Zoomed all the family and just celebrated uh our family and how much we're thankful for them. I'm pretty sure that most families nowadays celebrate the family aspect of Thanksgiving, not the actual historical side of it, just because of that not so great side of it. So I'm pretty sure that we're all, or at least the majority of us, are on the same page that Thanksgiving is more so about family, than what Thanksgiving was in history. Um, so when I say that we celebrated, I'm talking in the modern day Thanksgiving celebration. Because yeah. Anyway, so with that being said, I wanted to talk about what I was not told about motherhood because there were so many things I was told about motherhood that um was like, you'll lose sleep, you will be everything that you say now, you're gonna go against because you're gonna be like, I'd never let my child do that, and then you'll see in the midst of it, whatever. I was told that sleep when the baby sleeps, which I think y'all are lying. If you did sleep when the baby slept, um, I don't know how. That's all I know. Because yeah, nope, that did not work out. Y'all lied to me. What else was I told? Um, get your rest now before like the resting and sleeping was a huge thing. I feel like that was a lot being told that. And then almost more so negative stuff than actually positive stuff, I will say. And then some stuff that has to do with postpartum that nobody really talked about. So, I have compiled a small list of things that I don't recall being told, but if I was told, it was not often. So, the first thing that that I did not feel I was told, um, was so, yes, I do recall someone telling me that you'd have this beautiful bond, but nobody said that the anxiety of protecting your child would be so strong that you are almost insta helicopter parent. Nobody said that. Nobody was like, hey, you're gonna feel such an overpowering feeling of wanting to protect your child that you will think of every bad thing that could happen, every single little bad thing, and want to find a way of like make up scenarios in your head on how you're going to protect them from that. When you know full well you can't protect them from everything. So, thank you. No, thank you for that. I'm just kidding. But I was not prepared for these overwhelming feelings. I was definitely not prepared that when, I mean, people said, like they cried when their child got like so not everybody, but they cried when their child had a shot, but they did not say the intensity behind it. Like when I first, heard this, I thought, well, that makes sense. You see somebody that you love getting hurt. It doesn't feel the greatest, but it's when it's your own baby and you see the shot and they get it and you see their little face go from content to like my little emotions are like, and then I'm crying. So nobody told me this. No, I don't feel like I was properly told. Okay, maybe some of you told me, but again, you didn't say the intensity of it. Let's see. What else did no one that I felt no one told me? Um, no one told me that the love that you feel is so strong, probably mixes with this anxiety too, that it's just overwhelming. It's just an overwhelming sensation. Like I have never felt this way before, and I truly mean it. I have never felt this way before. Like I love my family. I love my husband. I love my family and my friends, but the love that I feel for my baby is just a super strong love. It's overbearing, overwhelming. Maybe not overbearing, but overwhelming feeling mixed in with that anxiety. And it's kind of a toxic combination. Not really, but it feels toxic because of the fact that I'm like, I don't want him to be hurt. I don't want him to lose his purity. Like all these thoughts. I don't want this to happen to him. Like, and they don't go away. And I asked a lot of people, I'm like, all right, now that I felt this, now that have an understanding of what this feels like, does it get better? Does it calm down a little bit? And they're like, nope. Ah, like it's good, but then at the same time, it's so like, oh my gosh. It's just beyond words. I can't describe. So that's one of the things. The second thing is it's kind of like a part B to part A, but like that. So you've got the anxiety feeling, you've got this love feeling. How many times a day I ask myself or say out loud, is he breathing? Is he still alive? I ask that so much. It is unreal. And it's not because I'm not following the ABCs. It's not that I'm not putting him in a area where he is not safe or where he can't be watched if he is with blankets. But I'm constantly asking myself, is he breathing? And even with the all the technology out there that we have with cameras and the little sock thing, and even just hearing him make a sound, I'm like, is he breathing? That is what I wake up to the thought, is he breathing? Nobody said that would be every 2 second feeling or thought. So definitely something I did not feel I was told. Um, what else? I'm trying to think. I had like the perfect list before I came on here, and then that pregnancy brain kicks in, and you're like, what was I saying again? So we so far have anxiety, love, the part B of anxiety, which is he breathing? Um, what else? Oh, nobody told me that. Well, okay, let's say this. People did tell me things, but I feel like the um the majority of what I was told was on things that were helpful, but not actually what I needed to know. For example, we talked about, like I said, the sleep. That was helpful-ish, but not compared to me thinking, is he breathing every second? Now that would have been helpful. Um, let's see. I feel as far as sleep goes, though, like everybody made it sound like you will never sleep again. But I'm still gonna be positive on this one. And the reason being is that I will take sleep as a win. And maybe I didn't sleep. Maybe I won't sleep ever like I did before. But I will say what I slept before was probably beauty sleep because I could sleep 9 to 10 hours if I let myself. So, really, if I only get 7 to 8 hours that are kind of split, is that really a loss? I don't think so. So, I can't say that sleep is forever gone. It is, I will say though, when the 5 to 6 hour nights hit, or it's kind of choppy hours, those hours can be rough. But I cannot agree that I will always, that it will never come back. I just don't believe that because there are nights that I get the perfect 8 hours. Now, perfect in the motherhood term or parenthood, I should say, terminology would be like it's broken up, but I still get the full 8 hours. Maybe there's an hour in between or whatever, but still, I got the 8 hours. So I can't complain on those days. And I can't say that I've lost that sleep. So I don't agree that I'll never have sleep again. I think that that is not true. So I was never told that you can get sleep here and there, obviously depending on the baby. So there's that. Now with multiples, I would assume that that would be intense and hard to do, and I'm assuming, oh, depending on your baby's personality, and I'm sure when we hit the regression, we're gonna feel another whirlwind. So we'll see how it goes. But for now, I'm embracing what I get. Um, and it's nice on the days that I feel like I quote unquote slept. So I can't take that away. Another thing that I was told was that I'm not going to be able to do what I used to do before. And I'm going to tell you, I am stubborn and I do not agree. I'm way too stubborn for this. Now, I will admit, yes, there are things that I cannot do um in the sense of maybe like, I don't know, maybe going abroad right now, I can't do. But that's only because I feel he's a bit too young and, money wise, I'd have to be prepared for that, which I'm not. But to go and experience and explore and adventure, I think it just shifts into a different type of adventure. It's not to say we can't adventure, it's to say it's a different route of going about our adventure. So, what I have learned so far with our 2-month-old is that for our adventure, because we are more so in the winter or getting toward the winter time, we're not doing like mountains or anything. We're not hiking yet, which is actually perfect timing because the time that our son will actually be able to be okay with hiking, at least from my own perception again, because everybody has their own thoughts and feelings, but for my thought is that when he is ready, it'll be the perfect time for hiking. So it kind of works out with this winter time coming. Uh, but our adventure, it doesn't mean our adventures have to stop because yes, there is RSV, and yes, there is COVID, and yes, there are things that, we have to think about. We can still adventure because there are still places to see, and there's still, you can do it from the car. You can go to places that are kind of more outdoors as long as everybody is dressed up properly. Um, and then there's, of course, the places that just don't have a lot of people that you could go to. So adventuring can still happen. So I don't agree with that being said that it has to fully change. I think there has to be change, and there has been changes. For example, before we would do like I'd say almost as many adventures as we could in one day. But now, with the way that our baby eats and sleeps and such, we do at least one adventure and then come back and, get him into his routine, which we don't say schedule here. We say routine. I feel like it's the safest word out there. Because everybody was like, when I use the word schedule, they're like, oh my gosh, you can't make a schedule with a baby. Yes, you are correct. You can't make a schedule because 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 p, all these uh times cannot be followed fully. You can't be like, exactly this time this will happen. But when you say a routine, that's up in the air. And I know I keep saying this every time we're in a podcast episode, but I've learned that there is a big difference. And it's all in the wording. And it sounds better, you know? Like maybe I can't say, especially for being a person that loves to plan, maybe I can't say that I have a schedule, but I can say that I have a routine. It feels better. It sounds better, whatever I tell myself. And that's another thing you guys didn't say, okay? That you'll forever, in order to survive this, survive the new lifestyle. Not saying again, not against my son. I love him. Not saying, oh, survival because I can't have him handle him. Nothing like that. I mean, in order to survive parenthood, we have to tell ourselves maybe they're lies, maybe they're not. We don't know. Little things that are positive glimmers of hope. For example, earlier in this podcast, I just tried to tell you that I didn't lose sleep. But do you see? It's the parent in me finding that glimmer of hope, finding the little wins. Things y'all did not tell me about motherhood, parenthood, is finding the wins. How many things you'll find a glimmer of hope in? Hmm? See there? Do you see what I did there? Yeah. So, I was not told that the glimmer of hope would be what I rely on to get through the day. So, yeah. So if anybody's in here and you're new at parenting, I might be helping you. I don't know. Probably not. Um, let's see. What else did I feel that you did not tell me? Again, I say this facetiously because, um, or in a facetious manner, because I was told a lot of these things. And a lot of these things I feel were not in bold print if it were written down. Some of it I feel could have been in bold because then it would just make sense. I'm just kidding. I do have to say I'm just kidding because of the fact that it's different, right? Like at the end of the day, there are bullet points that are the same for parenthood. But then those bullet points come down into sub bullet points. And then depending on your child, it goes into another subcategory. So really, at the end of the day, what I have learned about parenthood that I feel is said but not said enough is that no matter what they tell you, no matter what you read in the books, what you read in the apps, what you see on YouTube, what the perfect parent says on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or their blog, and it's that there is no true guide except for your internal guide and the bullet points that are out there. Because at the end of the day, what parenthood has taught me is that I may not know everything, but I know that following the path that feels good to me, following the path that feels, and when I say to me, I mean as a mother to my son, following that path and with, of course, following the path of my husband and as his father and how he feels about our son, that has been the most reliable source ever. Not to say, this is not discrediting anybody that I respect or love that has given me advice. This is not to discredit the people that get paid to do this, that get paid to help parents. I'm not discrediting anybody, but I do have to, as a parent, give us, my husband and I, the credit for being parents to our son, the credit of following a path that we feel is best. Now, if you did compare and contrasting with other people, you could be like, well, you don't do this or you don't do that. And I think that is the problem with our obsession with giving advice is that there's a way to say it, which many of you have done for me. Um, I'm mostly speaking for the people that cannot speak for themselves, that were told how they, you know, need to parent versus I think that our family and friends have really respected us in giving that advice and you know, so I'm not saying anything against my people, but to speak on behalf of others that do not get that right, at the end of the day, they are the parent. Now, there's always going to be judgment with parenting and how you do it, but it's so important to realize that for you, for those of you that are parenting and feel that they have the right way and that's the only way, I'm sorry, but that's not the case. You have to go back and look on your own parenting experience and remember, did you appreciate people telling you how to live your life as a mother, as a father, as a guardian? No, nobody likes that because at the end of the day, I feel that we were given the internal feeling. I mean, maybe not for everybody because I know that there are some people that don't feel that way, but that's okay. I'm talking about just myself here. I feel like I was given an internal, which is the maternal instincts, is what you'd call it, um, that have helped us get through to where we are today. Now you're all like, girl, you're only 2 months in. And I'm like, hey, listen, I'm not saying that I have the answers to parenting. I'm not saying that I'm a pro here. But what I am saying is that I have found that when I trust myself and my husband, that we go a lot further than when I'm just relying on the moments when you go into comparison mode. which I have been really working very hard to not do that, to go into comparison, because I think that it's a thief of joy and it's a thief of the path and the bond that I have with my son. And I think it's a thief of time. That's what I have learned about comparison with anything. Comparison is a thief of time because that time that you took to worry about somebody else, to worry about what they're doing, to worry about what society is saying that we should be doing, it takes up that time that was meant, I feel, for the present moment, living in the present, which is super hard. Living in the present is ridiculous, whoop, ridiculously hard. And it's hard because we're either looking ahead in the future and thinking, this is what I want, this is where I want to be. I don't have it yet. I need to get there. Or we're looking back and we're thinking, I didn't do this. I didn't go over here. I should have done this differently. But in the present moment, that is the moment of living. That is, and I feel like I've learned this so much through just watching life as a 32-year-old here. Am I 32? I don't know. That's another part of life you learn. You don't know your age anymore. Whatever my age is. I've learned these past couple of years, and with losing people and people passing away and watching tragedies, watching all these things happen, I've learned that time is of the essence. I mean, technically, time doesn't exist if you go down that route, but in the present moment, if you do not live in the present moment, you will end up looking back on the past and thinking, I should have done this more. When you look at the future, you're rushing, and time, you don't want to rush time because I hear so many people say basically that, like that song, Don't Blink, because when you blink, it goes by so quickly. So really, when you think of comparison, it is a thief of that time that could be for the present. And if you think about it, comparison, depending on how you're looking at it, depending on how you're comparing yourself, um, it's a thief because you're either in the past or the future, right? Well, I could be more like this person, so I'll do this, this, and this, and then I'll feel better and I'll validate myself and feel better. But when you get to that place, you don't validate yourself and you end up being like, well, I got to get to this next spot. And once I go here, then I'll feel this way and I get to that place. And I just don't agree with that mindset anymore because I lost a lot of time by doing that. Um, I lost a lot of time thinking, well, if I feel this way and I look this way and I have this and I take this for that, whatever, um, then I'll feel perfect. And no, you won't. Because once you get to that point, if you do get to that point, which a lot of times you don't, but if you do, you're already on to the next thing of what you want that you didn't appreciate the stuff that you didn't have before that you were worried about. You know what I mean? And I bring this up because this is what happens not just in parenthood, but it happens in life where we get so caught up in the past or the future or comparison where it's a thief. And time, even though time doesn't exist again, time is of the essence. And so I am doing my best to stay present. And it's hard. It's so hard. But I'm doing it because I don't want to go to the future and be so sad that I was so lost in my past or lost in my future or lost in comparison of other mothers that I lost my identity, myself. I lost trust in myself because I think part of that, of looking to others, like, yes, I think that in life there are guides. There are things that help us see differently. But I don't think that it should be what we rely on, where we forget who we are and we forget our beauty and our worth and we forget why, like, comparison does not have to be a thing. Instead, it can be, you know what? I'm going to pick and choose the things that I like because I'm allowed to do that. I'm going to bring it in if I want to, or I'm going to let go of things that I don't want to do. But I'm not going to look over at this person and be like, they have it so perfect. Everything that they have is just what I want. And I I'm not living up to the standards that I should be. I need to change. No, no, I don't agree with that. I think that that is painful to yourself and it's kind of a backhanded, like you should just, if you could like see yourself 3D, like if yourself came out of the mirror 3D and you could like backhand yourself, that is what you're doing when you're saying that you're not trusting yourself and knowing that maybe that maternal instinct or that paternal instinct is kicking in. Like you do not give yourself enough credit, and I think that you should. Now I know you're like, girl, I can't listen to you. You're only 2 months in to this. But the reason why I'm saying this is because I am fighting my hardest to fight against the status quo of parenthood. I am, and everybody is really, if you think about it, but I am fighting my hardest to not look at myself and be like, oh, you suck as a mother. Oh, you're not perfect. Oh, you're not this and that. Because it is unobtainable. Perfection is unobtainable. I am going to let my child down. I know it. It's going to happen. But I also am going to have wins too. And I'm going to take those wins. And I'm going to accept that I am a human being who makes mistakes. I'm a human being that, if you want to go on the religious route, sins. I am a human being that is not perfect. And I accept that. And I feel like if I can take that acceptance of who I am, then it will lessen that feeling of not being worthy or good enough or whatever we label ourselves from the outside point of view. And don't get me wrong, it's so easy to fall in it and it happens. But I feel like, in a sense, that these podcast episodes are also my way of to remind myself of this because I go back and listen to my own podcast episode. Not to say I don't like listen to other people. I'm not saying like I have all the answers. I do go for like answers. I do sought out what I, need, but I have to make sure that when I go out to look for an answer, for example, let's say in parenthood, I want an answer to something. When I go out to look for answers, I have to remind myself, am I going out to bash myself? Like, am I going over to get this answer because this person said so and that is the way and that's it, and let it bash me in the head because I'm just a bad person? Or am I starting, I don't know if I'm using that term right, but am I out to get answers because I want to learn and I'm willing to accept what I feel is correct or feel is not? Because I feel like it's a lot of, you know, figuring that out of how you feel about it. But I trust, at the end of the day, I go back to trusting my maternal instincts and saying, does this feel right? Okay. Does this feel wrong? Okay. Am I going to mess it up? Probably, probably, because that's the human side. But I refuse to let the norm, the status quo of beating myself to the ground, of some bullshit utopia of parenthood, kick me out. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's gonna happen where I probably will fall down in that because it's hard to keep the armor up, but I'm gonna keep this armor up because I've learned so far as a mama. I know it hasn't been long, but what I've learned so far is that when I give myself respect, worth, and trust, I better, feel better with myself, not with others, but I feel better with parenting. Like I feel when I have the acceptance that I'm not always going to do well, I'm not always going to thrive. I am going to be upset with myself when I do something wrong. But at the end of the day, I've got to sit myself down and say, it's okay. I'm only human and I'm good enough. And I'm not now, again, please do not um feel that I'm yelling at you or that I'm telling you what to do because at the end of the day, I don't want to be that person. I am merely giving you my own experience. I cannot speak for anybody but myself, for myself, to myself. I cannot give you, um, I do not feel that I'm qualified to give anybody any form of this is what you should do. This is what you have to do. Because that's where we're wrong. Not everyone has the same baby, number one. Not everyone has the same circumstances, number two. And not everyone wants to raise their children the same way. It's just that. So, where I was going, I guess, with this episode is that it started off as a joke as these are the things you didn't tell me. But it ended with I ended up learning, though, no matter if you told me everything that I possibly was going to run into verbatim. At the end of the day, how I react to it, how I go about it as a parent, how I choose to work my time out, my routine, as you say, it's all just a learning day by day basis. So that is what motherhood and parenthood, because, you know, has taught me. And yeah, but with that, you are loved, you are worthy, you are cherished, and I am proud of you. Until next time on the Pre Pod. Bye.